You're gonna have that like that the whole show, aren't you? Well, I mean, can't win them all. Yeah, you can't put up too high. Yeah. Well, it took you 25 years.
And hello there, all you stay tuners. Hey, listen, it might be Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Don't get me wrong here. First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, start running the fucking ball. Third quarter, take a power nap. Fourth quarter, oh shit, there's the rest of the game. Let's go.
Fuck it, I'm a diabetic. I will root for the team that will literally give me diabetes and death. Rooting for a team from Hershey is like a Catholic rooting for Satan. It doesn't make any sense.
This is Stay Tuned Sports, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here with the 2023-24 King James champion. Yes, that pains me to say it. Hello, King.
It's only the third time I've had this goddamn thing. You know, it's amazing. It's been a long time coming. I've been, I think 2020, that disaster of a year was the last time this was home with me. And before that was 2016. Those are the 3 years that I've had: 2016, 2020, and now 2023. She's back home, but I will put it away. I won't taunt you the rest of the show.
No. You have your
beauty
time
here.
I mean, you only beat high school players, but that's okay.
Well, no. Pump those brakes, because we need to talk, Jimbo. I remember last week we started off the show with me going, Jimbo, what the F? What is going on with your Eagles? I was like, how bad is that? You lose to the Cardinals? Like, that's so bad. And then we started discussing, like, are the Eagles going to even start or play anybody, for the game against the Giants? And it turns out, yeah, they did. They sat Swift. The other Swift took a seat. But outside of that, they started A.J. Brown. They started Jalen Hurts. That defense started. Everybody on offense, like, that was the Eagles' starting lineup.
Swift probably would have started, but he was inactive because he had an illness.
Okay, so he was shitting himself. I get it. I understand that. We've all been there. And especially like it's after New Year's. You probably did a little party last week. It's like, I get it. But Jimbo, with your starters in it was 24-0. Yeah. Now, granted, I'm a Giants fan, so I was ecstatic. I was like going nuts. I was like, oh my God, this is great. But as I took a step back, looked at it as an analyst, and was sitting there with my wife Jackie, and was just like, what is wrong with the Eagles?
Yeah,
there's something wrong with your team, Jimbo.
Well,
and now we're in the playoffs. They're going up against Tampa Bay, who is not looking great going into the playoffs either. They struggled against Carolina, who went scoreless for the last 8 quarters of the season. They got beat by the Saints the previous week. So not exactly building a lot of confidence there in Tampa Bay, but
yeah,
neither are the Eagles.
Well, I mean, maybe Chad Ochocinco's onto something, though. Did you see what he said?
I did not. Enlighten me, Jimbo.
He did a video or whatever. He goes, he is absolutely positively not worried about the Eagles. They are 100% playing possum. They're going to blow out everybody in the playoffs. You're telling me they played possum for 18 straight weeks? I thought I put it on silent.
Hey, listen, we all have those. We all have those moments. Just like your Philadelphia
was just
Eagles.
calling me.
Just like your Philadelphia Eagles, you're unprepared. You're unprepared. No, I agree with your assessment of that, which is so they just decided to let the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the Giants beat them just to lull everybody into a sense of false security.
Yeah.
No, this all started going bad after that Niners blowout. When the Niners blew them out,
yeah,
and you had Nick Bosa go out there and say, "Oh, we knew what to do. We once we saw what we saw, like we knew what plays were coming."
Yeah,
and everybody else followed that. And you saw what happened. The Cowboys blew them out. The Seahawks beat them with Drew freaking Lock.
Yeah.
The Giants almost beat them after a bad first half by Tommy DeVito, and not that much better one from Tyrod Taylor. And then you lose to the Cardinals,
yeah,
who I think won 2 or 3 games all year.
Yeah,
I think 3. It might have been 4. That might have been their
when
fourth game.
When they beat us, it was the third win.
So you have that, and then you lose to the Giants when you got blown out in the first half. When you were playing your starters, it was 24-0.
Yeah.
With your starters, you played better when you put in the scrubs.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, A.J. Brown gets hurt. Jalen Hurts dislocates his middle finger, which looked terrible.
That looked nasty.
That looked fucking gnarly, man. So, I mean, like, almost everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in Philadelphia. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the coordinators. I know apparently Nick Sirianni is not loved in the city anymore. He went from being the darling. He went from being Mr. Manures and Flour, joke guy, to, hey, brought us to a Super Bowl, so we're all dogs. We got that dog mentality, and we're all grown from his manure. To now back to being, oh, this guy's a jerk off. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. What are we doing? So I truly am.
I'll tell you this.
I'm a Giants fan, so I don't have much of a leg to stand on outside of the fact that we beat the ever-loving shit out of you guys last week.
Yeah.
But to me, that just brings up more questions about you guys. Like how, like.
Well, I don't think it brings up any more questions. It's the same questions, and it's going to revolve around Sirianni. I really, truly think he's lost that locker room, and I'm telling you, I will not be surprised if we lose against Tampa Bay, no matter if it's a blowout or a 3-point game. If we lose, Sirianni will be gone. That whole coaching staff.
If the Eagles are one and done, I wouldn't.
Because I really think he lost.
I wouldn't get rid of Sirianni if you guys are one. If you talk, if I was a general manager,
yeah,
I would not get rid of Nick Sirianni, even if you're one and done. I would 1,000% get new coordinators.
Oh, that has to happen.
1,000% say, listen, this next season is a make or break season for you, just to let you know.
Yeah. Oh, it would definitely have to be.
But I wouldn't get rid of him. Howie might, though.
But here's the only reason why I would say they would have to get rid of him is because if he really truly lost the locker room, how do you come back from that? Like, look at what happened with the Saints down this past week.
Again, what is this? Like, where is this coming from that he lost the locker room? Who is showing that they're not?
Okay. So A.J. Brown finally sat down with the media to explain why he's been not want to talk this and that, and he said the one main thing that really stuck out to me, that screams to me that they lost the locker room, is basically the players went rogue on most of these plays. They just did whatever they wanted. So they aren't doing like the routes or the blocking schemes or whatever it would be, whatever that play is called for. They're not doing it. They're doing what they want, not what the coach wants. And Jalen Hurts coming out. I think it was Jalen Hurts who was the one that said that we need to start believing in our coaches. Like, everything just says he has. So
is that bad coaches or is that diva receivers? Like, I don't know how to take that. To tell you the truth,
I think it's the coaches, because then the other thing too, I believe Ike Reese on the post game brought up, Nick Sirianni is supposed to be able to real in the locker room when these emotions are flying around, and he's supposed to be like this genius of a play caller and this and that, and he doesn't do the play calls. The OC does that now. If in fact he lost the locker room, he can't they're not going to listen to him no matter what he says. Like, why do we have him around? Like, what is his purpose as a coach right now? There is none. And
again, I'm not going to sit there and say like that's
on
Sirianni. Again, listen, how do you go from 1 year, taking your team to the Super Bowl and everybody believing in you, to the next year now everybody's saying, no, screw this coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like that. Well, that strikes me as just.
I mean, you look at the coordinators he had last year. Yes, I was a big fire game.
You didn't like Gannon. And well, he came into your house and stuffed it down your throat. So
yeah. So we had good coordinators last year on both sides of the ball. We were blowing people out. So that bar was set up here going into the season when it was an easy schedule. I'll admit, we were the bottom 5 of easiest schedules last year. So the bar was set up here coming into the 5th hardest schedule of this year. And when you set the bar here, okay, you better blow out even the hard teams by 30, 40 points, whatever our point differential was last year. And it just hasn't happened. It hasn't even come close. I think I looked back on the schedule, and we had three wins that we were in double-digit points. And that was only a 10-point win and an 11-point win. So it wasn't no 25.
No, but like I told you earlier in the year when you were just calling me a hater when I was doing my rankings before, the show kind of went to shit there for a little bit. You were just calling me a hater. Like the Eagles were barely eking out wins against the Patriots, against the Dolphins, losing to the Jets.
Yeah.
And as we've seen with a lot of these teams, not that great. And again, should have lost to the Bills outside of some bad calls in the end of regulation and overtime.
Yeah.
Should have lost to the Chiefs. Again, we can question whatever things like that.
Every game you could question calls.
Too close to call. Like when you look at a lot of these games, the Eagles, for being 11-6, could very easily right now be 9-8 or 8-9.
Oh yeah.
If a player taps his second foot down, or if the referee throws a flag where it should be thrown, or if somebody catches a pass that hits him in the hands and should catch it. I'll say, like the Eagles got a ton of lucky breaks this year to even get to where they were, and that's it. They were 10-1.
Yeah.
They were a 10-1 team, and since they were 10-1, they won one game against the Giants, which came right down to the end again.
Yeah.
In which there could have been a call in the end zone. Again, I personally, they're never going to call that. So, people who were screaming for that, I was like, even on I get it was egregious, but it was the last play, throwing it up. They're never going to call that. You could stab somebody in the end zone. They're not going to call it on the last play. I understand that. But even still, that's your only win in the last 6 weeks. You went 1-5 in the last 6 weeks. You didn't win a game all December.
Yeah.
And now you're going into the playoffs and looking at it, it might actually be a good thing that you didn't win a division.
Yeah.
Because if you had the Packers coming in, I think it's a lock the Packers win.
Well, not even just that. Chris Long tweeted out or X'd out. I don't know what the phrase is now for X, but
I just think tweet. I'm an old curmudgeon. I'm gonna stay with tweet because that's what it is. I don't care. I get it, Elon. I get it. I get what you're doing. I get what you're saying. But nobody's gonna call it a post. Nobody's gonna call it, putting out an X. Sure, where it's on X, but I'm still gonna put a tweet out on X. I'm sorry, it's still a tweet.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But
it's in my brain. I'm too old to change.
He tweeted out, if there was a scenario for the Eagles to happen that is best for them, is the fact that they have to go down Tampa Bay. Because if they were in Philly as the home team and first offensive drive that they would have, and they go 3-and-out, automatic boos. So he thinks there's less stress on the Eagles to go to Tampa Bay compared to if they were at home. And that makes sense. I mean, yeah, there's still going to be Eagle players down there, or Eagle fans down there.
I think there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans down there. I think there's going to be they're going to be
50-50.
loud. They're going to be noticeable. So I think if you start off that same way, you're going to hear a lot of boos.
I think it's different though if you're at the link. But at the link, you're almost guaranteed 90% Eagles fans. I could see it being 50-50.
No, 1,000%. No, the Philadelphia has cultivated this image of itself to get home ice, home field, home court advantage.
Yeah.
No matter what, like people are literally afraid. Oh, if I go to Philadelphia and wear another team shirt, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So it becomes a thing. But Philadelphia fans, especially when Philly's good, they travel well. There's a lot of people, snowbirds from Philly who are down in Florida, probably at the moment. Same as New York. You get a lot of people from New York down there. You got a lot of people from Philadelphia go down to Florida for the winter. So they'll show up. They'll be there, and they will be loud.
Yeah.
To your extent, yes, it will not be the same as doing at the link. But if I'm an Eagles player and the Eagles do not start well, they're going to feel that from Philadelphia all the way down there at Tampa.
Yeah.
It's going to it's going to transmit straight down there. They're going to feel that burning hatred coming from the city of brotherly love.
They're going to be like Jeff Goldblum from Jurassic Park looking at the little water.
It's going to, like, here's, like, they can't start bad.
No.
They cannot do it. Because it will be it'll be curtains. And the thing is, if you get and it's just asking a lot, if you let Baker get hot,
yeah,
if him and Mike Evans start hitting it, and against that Eagles defense, that might happen. And now you're the Eagles and you have to play from 7, 10, 14 behind.
And see, that's why that's why I think that first drive, first off, hopefully you win the coin toss. You take the ball. You receive the ball. Don't worry about the second half. Receive the ball. I want to see in Michigan, Penn State, how Michigan ran 37 straight times. I want just run with DeAndre Swift. Hopefully he's done shitting himself and stuff like that. Boston Scott. Gainwell, he looked good and missed a couple blitz pickups this past game, but run it, get that offensive line going, and tire that defense out. And that the last time the offense was good was actually probably Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay game earlier this year when DeAndre Swift had 100 yards rushing. They got to get that running game going. And when I say that, I don't mean quarterback draws. I mean legit running backs. Getting the ball and running it, not just Jalen Hurts.
If Tampa Bay gets a lead, though,
that's why I'm hoping that they would take it first and go right down.
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing too. Then you have to see, like, let's say Philadelphia wins the coin toss. Most everybody will defer, and they'll probably defer. If Tampa Bay gets the ball first, and they go down and score,
it's over
on that first drive. Now, if you're Philadelphia, if you're Sirianni, if you have this idea, like you're trying to say, like, and we don't know what their game plan is, and we don't know if they're going to go out and say, sling it, or if they're going to try to do a run game, like, we don't know.
Yeah.
But again, you've already heard A.J. Brown bitching that he's not getting the ball enough. Your offensive coordinator and Sirianni saying we got to get the ball to him more. So there's already this sense of, like, it feels like you're going to force passes.
And
so
that's worrisome.
If that's going to be what you guys do, and basically forsake the run to make A.J. Brown happy, and Tampa Bay gets out to a good start. Let's say Tampa Bay again gets a touchdown or even gets a field goal. Like, you know, like it's. I'm not saying it'll be over after the first drive, but you're going to have to see how the Eagles respond.
Well, yeah. I mean, if first off, if the defense holds them to a field goal on their first drive, that's a huge win for the defense. Because, I mean, we saw what the Giants did. And I think with Sidney Brown, our safety that blew his knee out in the Giants game, that's going to be big. That's going to be a big loss, and it's going to show. The only way this defense will be successful is if that front line somehow figures out, channels that inner 2022 defensive line that they were last year.
Gonna have that dog mentality.
Yeah, and get after Baker, because we have young cornerbacks back there.
If Baker starts cooking, here's the thing, and Baker's not a young quarterback anymore. Baker is seasoned. He is seasoned, like a fine gumbo.
Yeah.
If he gets, if you start letting Baker cook, like I said, if him and Mike Evans start getting a rhythm, again, we saw them with the division on the line get 3 field goals in Carolina. So that idea is, could they? Sure. Will they? No fucking idea. Who knows? Yeah. But the possibility is there. We've seen it this season where Baker and Evans have gone on fire in a game, and Baker has played well in a game, and that Tampa Bay offense plays well in a game. Will that happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, again, the last 2 games where they didn't look good was in New Orleans in the Superdome and in Carolina. Granted, there's no excuse for not looking good against Carolina.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Yeah, you won a division. Yeah, okay. But you won a division because you basically tripped into it.
Yeah.
You have to perform better than you did in Carolina, or the Eagles will win this game.
Yeah.
If I'm Tampa Bay, you have to look at it that way. Like, we have to, and Baker can do that. We've seen him do that. Will it happen now? I don't know. But all of a sudden, man, it's nerve-wracking if I'm an Eagles fan. Like, this is, I'm not going into these playoffs with a ton of confidence.
No, I'm not either. You know, after listening to AJ Brown's media scrum last week, I thought, okay. But I think I even messaged you about it. I said, you know, I feel a little bit better about the offense. Still not worried. Still a little worried about the defense. And watching that game, like, I don't understand why our well, I guess Matt Patricia calling the calls. Why are you putting Hassan Reddick and Brandon Graham, who's, I love him, but 555 years old, in coverage? They are your 2 best pass rushers, and you have them in coverage. Or you have them down in a 3-point stand. Have them freaking stand and just come off the edges. That's where Hassan Reddick makes his money, not in pass coverage and things like that. That's why this defense, I'm just not confident at all. Even if we pull out 50 points a game in the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl, I just not confident in this defense.
Well, to get to the Super Bowl, you have to gonna go through either Dallas or San Francisco. That's not.
I'm not sold on Dallas just yet. Until Dallas can win a playoff game. Like, granted, they won one last year, but I'm still not convinced that curse is over.
I would worry more about the Cowboys playing the Packers than I would the Cowboys playing the Eagles right now. I would. I'm sorry. And if what happened, like, let's say what happens, like you were saying, if the Eagles lose, if they're 1 and done in the playoffs and the Eagles decide to get rid of Sirianni, that's going to be the 8th head coaching position that'll be open so far in the NFL, because there's been a ton of these coaching changes already happening. Now, some of them we kind of knew were coming. There were some that were already open during the season. And just today, as we were recording, massive news has come out about what's going on.
And I just had ESPN on. I thought something else happened. That's why I looked over real quick.
Of openings. No, but again, just a little over an hour or 2 ago, learned that Pete Carroll not coming back to the Seahawks. Apparently, he's going to stay in the organization as a advisor.
Okay.
But I don't know what that means. And that seems weird because everybody who knows Pete Carroll says he still wants to coach.
Yeah.
He's told everybody after the season that he was still going to coach. There was all of that. So I like, that's why it came out as a surprise. Like that doesn't seem right. Then the day before we have Mike Vrabel getting fired from Tennessee, which not the first stupid move that Tennessee Titans have done over the last couple of years. I mean, we were just talking about your boy AJ Brown. They traded him to the Eagles. What was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And then he went down. The Titans came to Philadelphia, and the Eagles absolutely smashed them, which caused the Titans to fire their general manager.
Yeah.
You know, so, and rightfully so in that case, because that was the stupid move. So and there's still
possibly two more vacancies to be figured out yet. The Patriots and possibly the Steelers.
Well, we'll see. Again, we'll see what the Steelers do, but that's starting to look more like if Tomlin wants to leave.
Yeah.
Than if the Steelers will get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know, and with the Belichick stuff, who knows what he and Kraft say. Like a lot of people are saying the signs are pointing to him going, but there's a lot of signs now saying that like maybe not just yet, maybe pause, see if, you know. So Bill's been using a little bit of language now that seems like, oh, like, you know, he'll be amenable to somebody else being a general manager, them running that part, and he just coaches or does something like that, or anything like that. Or maybe he goes to Washington where they let go of Ron Rivera mercifully.
Yeah,
because he seemed like a beaten, broken man.
Talk about a coach that just got the shit beat out of him every year for, what was it, 5 years, 6 years, something like that.
And I can understand it. I can understand how Ron Rivera kind of was.
Yeah. After
this guy, like, I'm surprised that they didn't change him last year. But again, with the ownership influx, I guess, you know, Dan Snyder didn't do it, and then when Josh Harris finally got the team, like, they didn't want to do anything right off the bat.
Yeah. Like
that, you know, being that it was kind of already close to the season or anything like that. So, but I mean, you saw last year where he was just like, oh, we were still alive for the playoffs, so I didn't know. I was starting backups because I figured we were done, so we were just doing it like he has been mentally checked out of that Washington football team, a Redskin Commanders job, for probably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's a person on this earth that'll blame him for having to deal with that absolute shit show that Dan Snyder had going on there. So,
yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of talk about that's where Belichick could end up, and also out at the Chargers job, which is also apparently where that's a big place where Harbaugh might go if he decides to jump into the NFL. So you have to. Well, let's look at the jobs that are open, because right now I think I had said it before of what jobs are open. Now we know the Tennessee job surprisingly is open. And then just today, the Seahawks job now surprisingly open, although apparently that's Dan Quinn's job if he wants it, from what I'm hearing.
That's what I saw before we started recording.
So you have the Seahawks job that's open. You have the Tennessee Titans job that's open. You have the Carolina Panthers job that's open, which they're not going to get anybody worth anything to want to take that job.
Yeah.
Because Tepper is Dan Snyder 2.0.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon. Yeah.
So that's going to be a hard place to fill. We talked about the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders. They're open. The San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers of Anaheim. They're open. The Las Vegas Raiders technically is open still because he's, you know, Antonio Pierce is just an interim. Now they still have to abide by the Rooney Rule, so they still have to interview at least 2 candidates of color, and plus anybody else that they would want to, before they could hire Antonio Pierce just to take the interim tag off.
Yeah.
Weird rules and bylaws, why they still have those. I mean, that's an argument for a different day.
Yeah.
And probably one of the funniest ones was the Atlanta Falcons job is open. And Arthur Blank waited until 12:01 to have it be officially Black Monday to go ahead and fire Arthur Smith from the job. He was just, stay by your phone. Just, Arthur, listen, we're going to do like the end of year meeting and go there. We'll get there. Just here, I got some stuff to do. Stay by your phone. I'll call you, let you know what we're going to do. Okay. You got to figure Arthur Smith is just sitting there, just like, man, it's getting late. When is Mr. Blank going to call? I don't know. It's almost midnight now. What's going to happen? It's 12:01.
Ding.
Oh, yes, hi. Yeah, clean out your shit. You're fired. Get out of my building.
And
7 to 9, 7 to 9, 7 to 9. Get out. Or 7 no,
So, yeah.
7 to 10.
no, 7 to
Yeah,
9.
7 to 10. 7 to 10. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
7 to 10. I was still thinking the old 16 game schedule.
And
I hate odd numbers. Either make it 16 again or make it 18. Do one or the other. This 17 game bullshit is bullshit.
And the funniest part about Arthur Smith is the last thing he's going to be known for. That's some bullshit. Some bullshit.
His goddamn mind on Dennis Allen, who didn't even call it.
Yeah. That's another one.
Jameis Winston is.
He's a character.
Something. I mean, listen. The man is between doing that and eating W's and like that's like. That's a classic.
DA called the play in, and we respect him, and took a player's vote and said, "Fuck him."
Yeah, well, we wanted to get Jamal the touchdown. He didn't have one all year, so. And here's the thing. I wouldn't have a problem with it if it wasn't victory formation.
Exactly.
Victory formation is it's done, guys. We're taking a knee. You don't have to do anything. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. So to do that out of victory formation, that's bull. If you lined up, you could still make the argument like, oh, that's bullshit, or oh, is it? But at least there, you still give the defense a chance to be like, oh, all right,
yeah,
F you then, and get one last lick in or do something like that, and maybe somebody gets a late hit in because they feel it's a bullshit call or whatever. But doing that out of victory formation was cheap, and like then his trying to explain it was just. Again, as with anything with Jameis Winston, it's fucking bizarre.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make him look
good. He's just a weird cat, man. Like he's just a weird dude.
That whole explanation doesn't make any of them look good, like Dennis Allen or Jameis or those players.
And then you have Dennis Allen like a cuck coming out and I just want to say and apologize to Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons. That's not the kind of team that we are. It's like, dude, like. You could just tell that dude stands in a closet and watches his wife get banged by other people. Like that's off. Like, dude, have some balls, have some nuts, and just be like, listen, listen. That's not the play I called in. The players felt differently. They wanted to do something for their teammate. That's something we'll handle internally. But it is what it is, and you move on from there. Yeah. But he was straight up just, dude, like. I don't know how he's not fired.
That's what I mean.
New Orleans, you have to let that guy go.
Yeah, because again, just like Sirianni, how I believe that Sirianni has lost that locker room. He obviously.
We're talking about a lost locker room. That's the Eagles is not a lost locker room, at least in my opinion. Yet. Yeah. That Saints locker room,
they're gone.
Nobody listened to him. Nobody respected him. And then especially after that press conference of, I just want to start out and say that I'm so sorry and apologize to Arthur Smith and to the NFL. This is totally unacceptable. This is not the way that we want to conduct. Get out.
Yeah.
Get out. Get the fuck out of my building. No, absolutely not. Whether that's the way you feel, whether that's anything like that, like not only did your players just make you look like a cuck, then you come out and you say the most cuckish shit in the history of cuckdom. Like I'm sorry. Like I don't mean to be vulgar. I don't mean to be inappropriate here. But this guy is a cuck.
Yeah.
This guy lets his wife probably cheat on him all the time while he watches through a camera because he's just that kind of guy. He's just I'm all weak and I don't want to get in the way. I'm sorry, honey. You know me. I apologize. Like if he makes a noise in the closet, he probably apologizes to the guy banging his wife. I'm sorry. That's not the kind of guy I am. I know I kind of disrupted your rhythm while you were pounding my wife into oblivion. I really do apologize. Sorry. That's not how we conduct business here. Like, I'm sorry. The guy's. If you're the Saints, you have to get rid of this guy. You have to.
And John Gruden is supposedly somewhat linked to them too, because of Derek Carr.
That will never happen.
Why?
It will not. With the fact that he's got this what
Well,
$1 billion lawsuit against the NFL still going on,
if
and
they were
all the
to
other
kiss
shit
and make
around
up,
him,
that's the only
and
way.
the emails about what was said and the language used and the vulgarities and the slurs and the insults and the da 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 da. There's a better chance of Washington going back to the Redskins than John Gruden getting a job in the NFL. It is not going to happen.
Never say never. You never know.
No, I won't say never on the Redskins. I will say never to John Gruden. Like I said, I think there's a better chance that the Redskins name comes back more than John Gruden comes back in the NFL. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's people out there who love John Gruden. I think that he is a very smart and bright mind when it comes to football. That second stint with the Raiders didn't really work out that well. And so I don't know if he's really a head coaching answer in 2023, 2024. I keep on forgetting it's 2024. I don't know if he's a head coaching answer in this current year, since I can't remember what year it is. But I don't see that.
Yeah.
But you can't keep Dennis out.
No.
He needs to be gone.
And that's a team that you don't have to go after a Harbaugh or a Bill Belichick. You could go after one of these younger coordinators, whether you want to go offense or defense. Like,
I think so.
That's still a good team if you get the right either offense coordinator or defense coordinator to be,
and again,
be a head coach.
I think Derek Carr is still a very good quarterback.
Yeah,
I do. I think he's with a bad coach in a bad system. But Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I think if Derek Carr, here's what I'll say. If Derek Carr is still on the Raiders this year, the Raiders make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think that 1,000%. Yeah. And the fact that Josh McDaniels chased him out of Vegas. Again, well, as we know, Josh McDaniels did a lot of dumbass shit.
Yeah.
But I think that's another big one. I think if Derek Carr is still in Vegas, the Raiders are in the playoffs. After firing Josh McDaniels, clearly.
Yeah.
And listen, Antonio Pierce needs to be that coach permanent.
You don't want him as a.
He's got to do the Rooney Rule interviews for again, because he's already on the staff, he doesn't count apparently as a black man. So
I don't understand that.
I don't know how that works out, but sorry, Antonio, you're not black according to the NFL.
So you don't want him as your defense coordinator?
I would love Antonio Pierce to be my defensive coordinator.
That's what I'm worried about. At one point, I'm like, sweet, Dan Quinn's leaving. All right. Antonio Pierce is high on Giants.
I think if you're Mark Davis and you don't hire him as your head coach, I think somebody else will. I think either Atlanta will, New Orleans will, because I seriously think Dennis Allen's got to be gone. Maybe Washington if they don't get Belichick.
And you know what?
I don't know if you'd want to go to Carolina. I don't know if you'd want to go to Carolina. I don't know anybody that wants to go to Carolina. But I don't know if beggars can be choosers at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe the Chargers. He's from LA. I know he's a Raider through and through. He grew up as a Raider fan down there in LA. But maybe he takes the Chargers job. Maybe something again. I think if Antonio Pierce doesn't get the head coaching job in Vegas, I don't think he becomes a defensive coordinator somewhere else. I think someone's going to pick him up as a head coach.
And you know what? Like J.J. Watt made a good point. And maybe Watt didn't understand about the whole Rooney Rule. Like he was saying how is he not hired yet? Obviously, he's got Raiders got to do a couple more interviews to make it legal, I guess. However you want to word it.
And again, that's stupid, but we'll go.
The fact that you had the fans that want him, the players want him.
I want him. Everybody associated with the Raiders, from the old school Raiders, to current Raiders, to the Raiders fans. Like when you got Charles Woodson hanging out in the locker room, when you have these old school guys who want this man to represent the Raiders, because let's face facts, Antonio Pierce is everything the Raiders are about.
Yeah.
He exudes Raiders. And look what he did with this team that was, again, a mess. And I go back to, like, again, everybody's making the comparisons to Bisaccia, but that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Bisaccia took a team that was in absolute turmoil, had an absolute devastating tragedy that happened, and then had another guy, because he was on Instagram Live saying he was going to kill people with a gun. They had to cut him, and he was like, there all these other things that were going on with the Raiders at that time when John Gruden got let go.
Yeah. And
then Bisaccia takes that team and gets them to the playoffs, and then almost wins a playoff game with them.
Yeah.
And then they let him go because Mark Davis wanted to get the shiny toy of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Who, after what he did to the Colts, should have never been on anybody's radar. For, going to the Colts, going to Irsay, going to his house, saying, yeah, no, we got the deal. And then on the flight back, after they put out a press release, they got everything set, ready to go. And then he says, oh, no, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I would have, he'd never get another shot.
He should have been blackballed.
And he has a press conference saying, I've learned my mistakes from the past, from when I was the head coach in Denver. And, I was maybe too egoistic and too arrogant about myself and all this stuff. And I'm definitely a changed person. And I know. And then he does the exact same thing that he did in Denver, he does in Vegas. And surprise, surprise, same result.
Yeah.
And people are surprised by this. And still you have people out there like Michael Lombardi sucking his ass. And they go, Josh McDaniels, I think he's a fantastic guy. He just things that worked out there. I don't like Derek. Like that's the one thing I hate about Mike Lombardi, and you see him on McAfee a bunch, and you see him on another couple other things. And people put a lot of stock into what he says. But when you dig a little deeper and you see how he's acted towards like former Patriots and people connected to the Patriots and Belichick's tree and stuff like that, to the point of ruining franchises and ruining players to help his guy. Like a lot of the stuff that came out about Derek Carr either not being good or being bad or people came from Michael Lombardi.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a couple of videos I'll link to. Maybe I'll put them in the description here below, and you can go take a watch on them. Like I took a couple of watches of them, and it's however you feel about the situation, like facts are what they are.
Yeah.
What people say is what they say. It's not misinterpreting. It's not anything like that. These are the things that are said. And so I put a lot of that on Michael Lombardi, and the fact that Josh McDaniels kept on getting another chance, and how people were talking about him, and what happened to Derek Carr in Vegas, I put squarely on Lombardi and Josh McDaniels, and Lombardi working basically for Josh McDaniels to kind of ruin this guy in the Vegas eyes and to get him out of there. If I'm somebody if I'm a GM in the NFL, I don't listen, let Josh McDaniels stay up in New England. If he wants to be a coordinator, wants to be a ball boy, wants to be an advisor, if he wants whatever he wants to do, keep his ass the fuck up there and keep him away from the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
Because that guy doesn't deserve to sniff another head coaching job as long as he's in the league at all. And I think we've seen enough of him. I think people have seen enough of him. We've heard enough about him. Like the evidence is bare. Like we have everything you have to see. Not only the 2 head coaching stops, but the shit that he pulled with the Colts. We see all that. It's all there. It's all obvious. It's all out in the open. There's no reason to be like, oh, we think he can still be a good coach. We're going to give him a shot. No, there's no reason to give this guy another shot by anybody. The only place that I can actually see him getting another shot would be Carolina, because that would be the only place to do it. Because Tepper's an asshole, so of course he would hire an asshole, and nobody else would want to take the job in Carolina. So that might be the only place that he would go. And even then, maybe Tepper doesn't hire him, because even Tepper, as much of an asshole as he is, wouldn't hire him, because he's that much more of an asshole.
So he doesn't want to be assholed out.
Yeah, I'm king asshole, not this guy. Screw him. So that the long and short of it is, screw Josh McDaniels and super screw Michael Lombardi. You fat piece of shit.
Before we move,
that's too strong.
Before we move on to a different,
still, fuck you, Michael Lombardi. You suck.
Who do you hate more, Michael Lombardi or Chris Sims?
Michael Lombardi, and I'll tell you why.
Oh boy! Wow.
Here we go. I'll tell you why.
Buckle in,
because
boys.
Chris Sims says dumb shit, and I say dumb shit too. You say dumb shit. We all say dumb shit.
Yeah.
You know, we're from, you know, and I poke fun at Chris Sims because I played football against him once in high school, and you know he's the boy with the silver spoon in his mouth and all this other stuff. And he says, let's be fair, he does say some off the wall goddamn shit.
Yeah.
But the things he says doesn't ruin careers and doesn't alter or change people's lives. What Michael Lombardi does is like in getting places to continue to hire, like a Josh McDaniels, to give him a, you know, oh yeah, no, if I was you, if you asked me for my opinion, I think Josh McDaniels is good. Da, 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 da. By getting people to hire him hurts people's careers, shortens people's careers, whether it's in the general manager's office or the front office, whether it's on the field as a player. And again, the other shit he says about players like Derek Carr, like, again, look at what happened to Derek Carr. He got driven out of Vegas.
Yeah.
Because Josh McDaniels didn't like him. So then Lombardi works on setting a narrative that, oh, well, Derek Carr is difficult to work with. Derek Carr doesn't know what he's doing. Derek Carr is not that good of a quarterback. Derek Carr is da-da-da-da-da. When, let's all be honest, if Derek Carr is in Vegas this year, they make the playoffs once they got rid of Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like Michael Lombardi a lot more than I don't like Chris Sims. Because Chris Sims, like us, says dumb shit, but it doesn't have an impact on people's lives. It just, the only impact is people watching him say, hey, that's fucking stupid. Like people watching us. People watch us and say, they're fucking stupid. And we are. Don't get us wrong. I understand it. But what Michael Lombardi does actually hurts people. It hurts people. It hurts people's lives. It hurts people's livelihoods. It puts people's careers at stake. It puts people's careers on the line. And it's of a higher level of scumbaggery. And that's where I'll leave it. And again, I know, like, you know, people like going to him. I know he has his own podcast. I know he goes on Pat McAfee, and him and Pat McAfee like each other, or whatever. I don't know if he's one of the paid people that Pat has on there or not. But all I know is he's a scumbag. And so, like I said, like when I see him come on Pat and I hear him start talking and spewing shit, I just click. Like I heard him talking shit on, you know, like trying to put down the Michael Penix Jr. Click. I'm not going to listen to it. That dude's opinion means less than piss to me, because he's been wrong more than he's ever been right.
Well, that's why he hasn't.
And people will say, well, he's got rings from New England. No, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have rings from New England. Michael Lombardi dick rode to get some rings. That's all he did. And you know how I know that? Because if you listen to him and you listen to the shit that he says, especially about Josh McDaniels and especially about Derek Carr, you quickly find out that fat wop doesn't know shit. The end. Sorry. I know I'm going to have to apologize to my Italian-American friends for using such vulgar language. And I do. Again, I'm married to an Italian-American woman. She's very lovely. So I sorry. But if there's somebody who deserves to have a slur used against them, Michael Lombardi.
Hopefully, like, no Italian late night show comes after us now.
I don't know. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel's Italian, so we're fine.
Fuck him.
So now we've covered that. Man, I did not expect to go off on a Michael Lombardi. That, I'm going to tell you what.
It was perfect.
That is 1,000% organic.
Yeah.
I did not expect to go off on a Michael Lombardi rant. I'm sitting here talking about open coaching position, talking about the NFL. We're going to go into the picks now for this weekend's games.
No, we still have a championship game to talk about. If you want to talk about the national champ.
I forgot to say. Well, we got all this. But anyway, like I said, we still have. Like I'm figuring we're just going to do all this stuff, and then the talking about the Raiders, and then talking about Derek Carr, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Michael Lombardi, he's a piece of shit, and then it just blew up in my mind. So
I was going to keep driving us to the championship game, but I was like, red light, looked at you, let's put it back in reverse.
So,
but yeah, the championship game.
Hail to the victors, Valiant.
Honestly, I don't like Michigan.
We're Notre Dame fans, so fuck Michigan. But
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Go ahead, take the title away from them and everything, but everybody's seen it. Michael Penix felt it. Poor guy, fucking.
Listen, I still like Penix. I would still like.
I would take him at 6 or 8.
I've said before, I'm good with Daniel Jones as the Giants quarterback. I really am. I know there's some people out there who don't. I like Daniel Jones as our quarterback, but if Penix is available at 6, as a Giants fan, I would not be upset if we picked him up.
After watching that game,
like I said, if you pick him up, you have Daniel Jones play this year. And listen, if anything, follow the Packers formula. Don't start a rookie immediately.
Yeah.
Don't.
I've always been a believer of that.
Because look what happened. You went from Favre to Rodgers, but Rodgers sat for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you went from Rodgers to Love, but Love sat for 3 years.
Yep.
And now look what he's doing. Like, sit your rookie quarterbacks. Sit them. Even if it's backing up Daniel Jones, who maybe not as good. Maybe let them sit.
Yeah.
Let them absorb the NFL. Let them understand the speed of the game. Going from college to the NFL is such an advantage. Even for your SEC schools, it means more down here. Yes, the defenses are great down in the SEC. Yes, they're fast and they're speedy and they run NFL-style defenses. But they're not the NFL.
No.
And that gap between college and the NFL is still massive.
Yeah.
Let these kids acclimate to the game, then put them in. And you'll see the difference. Because it's very rare you get what happens like with C.J. Stroud, with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like, those are rare, special cases. Most of your cases end up being Bryce Young.
Yeah.
End up being Zach Wilson. End up being Trey Lance.
Which is funny. He's the only quarterback from that draft class in the playoffs.
Justin Fields, maybe. We'll see. By the way, about coaching changes, the Bears come out and say that they're sticking with Eberflus.
I mean, obviously he's going to be on a hot seat early next year. He's going to have a very, very short string.
So we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
All that being said, Michigan beat that Penix to the ground, man. That was a pounded Penix down there in Houston. He got absolutely pummeled. And the Michigan Wolverines running game was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Why they stopped running, I don't know.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
They kind of pulled an Eagles there.
Yeah. What was after the second touchdown was when you finally admitted to me that it's over?
It's like, this game might be over because he went for another big-ass run. But then they stopped doing that, and Washington came back, and it was down to a touchdown game.
Yeah.
Like, again, the score at the end looked like a blowout. But Washington was within striking distance the majority of that game.
Yeah.
So it was there. If there was, if they could get a catch. Again, they had that one great catch that was called back because of offensive holding. And it was always they always had a dropped pass or an untimely penalty or something where it was just like, just when you think they're going to start, just when you think they're going to make that move, it just didn't click.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happens, Michigan would just go boom. And in that fourth quarter, Michigan pulled away, and you see what happens. But
can I just say too, you college football players, if you're going to dump the Gatorade on your head coach, the key is not to let him see it coming. Why the hell was that player hugging Harbaugh with the Gatorade coming from behind the player? He could see it coming. Pick him up.
I think he was trying to hold him in place, but Harbaugh saw it and he was able to get away. So they ended up getting him more than they got Harbaugh.
And you know what? How old is Harbaugh? Probably 60s. 55?
I want to say mid to late 50s, maybe 60s.
Dude moved like a cat. He was quick moving out of the way there.
You want to know how I know I'm old as shit?
How?
I remember watching him play football.
Yeah, for the Colts.
He played, and the Bears too. He played for the Bears.
The Bears too, yeah.
He played for the Bears, but I remember watching him in the what was that? The 90. It was a 1995 AFC Championship game that was held in 1996. Clearly, January '96.
Yeah.
Where they almost beat the Steelers on the last second Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And that was the Super Bowl where the Steelers went and lost to the Cowboys, Super Bowl 30. So yeah. I remember watching that, and I was like, man. And now I look at him now, and he is, he looks every bit his age.
And he looks just like his father.
Yeah, his father still looks like him.
Yeah.
And his father's got to be what, his 80s? So, yeah. But he still looks, like he still looks pretty good for 80, whatever he is.
Yeah.
But then again, I look at my dad, and my dad's almost 80 now. Like he's 70, he's going to be 79 soon. And my dad could still kick the shit out of anybody that comes up on. You look at my dad, you think my dad was in his 50s.
Yeah.
For real.
I seen my dad. Yeah, I seen him once, and I was like, I'll just stay in the truck here.
But again, you stay active. You stay active. My father's a truck driver. He stays active. He's tarping loads. He's doing shit like that. Like he's moving. He's going. He's always, he still has that energy. So he still has some of that youth to him.
Yeah.
So I imagine that's the same thing with the Harbaughs. Like they hit the weight room and they run and they do shit. Like they're an athletic family. So
as far as the Wolverines, Michigan, do you think Harbaugh's gone? Do you think he's leaving?
I don't know. Not as solid as I thought. Maybe last week. I thought last week, I think if they win, he's gone. I'm not sure. I'm going to say we're not sure. I would still probably lean maybe if he gets the right offer. And I think if he gets, I think he would have went to the Bears if the Bears job was open.
Yeah.
I think I keep on wanting to say San Diego because that's where they fucking belong.
Yeah.
But the Chargers job is very enticing. That Chargers job is nice.
Yeah.
You got Herbert. You got a bunch of other weapons there. You have a pretty decent defense that you can start building around again too. Like the Chargers job is a good job, I think.
Yeah.
So that's enticing. I think outside of the Bears or the Chargers, I don't know if he'd go anywhere else in the NFL. I saw somebody try to say like, "Oh, now that Seattle's open, he'll go to Seattle." Like he's not going to fucking Seattle.
No. I think if he wants to go to a team like that, either the team needs to have like a very, very high draft pick that he could get his own quarterback, or already have a young quarterback there like Bryce Young or someone that either he could help fix, because Bryce Young's going to need fixing. They're going to have to get a coach that can help him.
Nobody worth their salt is going to Carolina.
No, I know, but if I was Bryce Young,
that's the shame of it too, because if you're Bryce Young, you're figuring his career might already be over because he's in a bad spot where he can't get a good coach because his owner is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So he's kind of triple compounded here, where if he was somewhere else, maybe he's got a shot, but not in Carolina, and that's the shame of it. And that poor kid's going to be blamed the rest of his career. He's going to have this bust title on him, where it's honestly, I don't think it's fair to him.
No, it's not,
because of being in that situation with that owner. Again, this is kid's first season, and what was it? 10 games into his first season, the first coach he knows is fired.
Yeah,
he has never had a chance for success.
And
he was never set up to be successful this year.
And that's the issue, is like a lot of fans are just going to look at the stats and say, yeah, he's a bust, and not look at like you said, the situation.
He's too short. No, they got a midget at quarterback. Look what Houston got, and poor Carolina. They got a midget. It's like that was. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to do our picks?
Yeah, I just one more thing.
Uh-oh. A Lombardi go on?
No, just listen. Notre Dame. If Michigan can do it, so can you. Next year, why not us?
I'm glad we got our OC back. I think he saw Brian Kelly, how he acts out there, and was like, no, I'm out. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that, at least for that. I think our offense could be a lot better.
Why not us? Playoffs is 12 teams next year. Opens the field up. Just don't stumble. And I think we could be there. Michigan did it. Their first outright title since what, 1940 something?
Yeah, something like that.
1941, 1942, somewhere around there. First title that was shared since the 1998, which even that I think was a little bullshit. I don't think Nebraska should have ever gotten chosen for that either.
Yeah.
I remember that at the time. That's actually was the impetus that caused the BCS. But Notre Dame, you could do it. The SEC doesn't rule college football. Okay? We could do it. Okay, now, yes. Let's move on.
So we're gonna rank.
NFL.
We're gonna finish the 13th ranked team.
It might.
I mean, if
Knowing Notre Dame, we always find a way to be just outside.
Just outside the box. All right, so oh shit.
What's that?
Nick Saban, breaking news. Nick Saban is retiring. Front page of ESPN.
I saw a breaking news thing come up on my phone. And I didn't think I
didn't think he was leaving.
Hold on. I'm going over there right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we got breaking news here. I know this is taped, so you're not going to see it until afterwards, but breaking news. Sources: Alabama football coach Nick Saban is retiring. Nick Saban, considered among the greatest college football coaches of all time, won 6 national titles at Alabama, is retiring. Sources say, oh, goodness gracious.
Well, we will put off our picks. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, we will get to the picks. Let's see here. Saban, 72, just completed his 17th season at Alabama, which ended in a loss to eventual national champion Michigan in the Rose Bowl. I've always said that if you're thinking about retirement, you're probably already retired, and I'm not there yet, Saban told ESPN in November. And that's the end of the article.
Yeah, so this literally just broke.
This literally just came out 18 minutes ago. And again, that's kind of when I saw the breaking news there, but I didn't think to actually look. So not a lot of information. We don't know what the sources are, who the sources are. All we know that this is coming from ESPN's Chris Lowe, that Nick Saban is going to retire from the University of Alabama. Does he try to go to the NFL again, or is he just done?
I think he's done.
So we'll see. I don't know. And by the time you're seeing this, there'll probably be a little bit more information out there.
Yeah.
Whether or not, we get further clarification. If he is, if he isn't, if there's any more to the sources, what's going on. But as of right now, as we're recording this, 5:36 p.m. on Wednesday, the 10th of January, is when this is all going down here. So, wow. Jimbo, just when I thought the Pete Carroll getting fired was going to be the biggest, being relieved of his coaching duty was going to be the biggest story.
A couple days ago, Pete said that he wants to come back. He's not tired, and then all of a sudden they part ways. Is he parting ways to go to Alabama? Go back to college.
72 to go back to he's 70. What is he? 70? He's higher.
71. 71, 72. Yeah.
I know he's in his 70s.
But why would you say, you don't feel tired, this and that? You're saying all the
college is different, man. You got to hit the road. You got to recruit. You got to be, and that's the other thing too. Saban was on the road recruiting.
Yeah.
Like you'd watch him on some of these shows, and he'd do interviews while he was on the road recruiting. He took pictures with big ass offensive linemen and shit like that. You know, like so. This was all coming out. So the fact that now he's saying he's retired. Now, if that's the case, who takes over Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he had a predecessor like ready. Like, you know how we
Lane Kiffin. They're going to take Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. Billy O'Brien from New England. If Belichick leaves, is Billy O'Brien? Does Belichick take over Alabama? Breaking news, dude! What a
wow!
24 hours.
Yeah, holy
in
shit.
the world of football, both pro and college. This has been nuts.
Maybe you know, in the next day or two, if there's more information coming out about Saban, maybe we'll put up another video of
maybe. Yeah, we'll get more. Listen, we will stay on this, even if it's just me, even if it's just you, whatever it is. If something else breaks, I'll try to get something out on YouTube as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So that we're as contemporary as possible. But wow,
that's
just when we thought it was Pete Carroll and Vrabel were the two biggest coaching stories. Here comes Saban from the top rope. Tuscaloosa. I'm retiring, bitches. Give me the headlines. Wow.
All right. So let's do the playoff picks here.
All right.
So,
I was just getting on my phone to look at the lineups for this, and well, here we go. I imagine you were doing the same thing, going to look at the games, and you see breaking news.
This is what happened was while you're pulling up your picks there. This is what happened was I opened up to ESPN. I saw that, and when I was like, oh shit, and then I thought, wait, Jim, you always fall for this shit. Think about this first. And then I was like, wait, no, this ESPN. It has to be true. It has to be legit.
Yeah, this isn't like ESPNBulls.com or something.
Yeah.
You know.
So a lot of things that I bring up in messages between me and King fact checks for me.
Oh.
So as far as the picks, we're just gonna pick straight up, no points. Who
let's just pick the games. We'll do that. You can find all your things at your favorite betting site of choice until one of them decides to sponsor us. Fuck you and your points.
Which these picks are sponsored by Dubby.
Oh yes, Dubby. And listen, you're gonna have to go ahead and be focused to pick some of these games because it's the playoffs now. You got to be focused. You got to keep it composure. You know, super wild card weekend, if you would, please. You know, it's not super for nothing. They didn't add super just to have it be ignored by us, Jimbo. No, wild card weekend, that was in the past. Now, the last 3 years, this has been super wild card weekend, and you will address it as such.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for my actions.
That's not who we are.
That's not who
we do here. We're a better organization than that, so we just want to apologize. Dennis Allen, you fuck. Anyway, right. So let's start off. I'll jump right into this.
Go ahead.
Good. I like speaking the words. I like it. I'm sorry.
They're fun.
I want to be a narrator like Morgan Freeman. I really do. I think I have the voice for it at times. Anyway, starting off Saturday, 4 p.m. on the National Broadcasting Company. That would be NBC, Jimbo. You have what I'm looking forward to, maybe the most this whole weekend. You have the Browns, number 5 seed, at the number 4 seed, AFC South champion, Houston Texans. Who you got and why?
I'm going Houston. I think a lot of people are thinking CJ Stroud is probably going to come back down to earth, and Houston is just going to be average. I just think the opposite. I think they're going to keep on trucking how they've been trucking, and I think Flacco is going to be sleeping on the bench with his little pillow. I don't think he's going to. I think the Flacco magic is over. I think it's ended. I think the magic has ran out. So I got Houston.
Do I think CJ Stroud will play bad? Absolutely not. I think this kid is for real. I think he's got an amazing future. I think the Texans are set up for years to come with their coach and their quarterback. It kind of feels almost like a Joe Burrow situation, kind of like in Cincinnati. how they have with their guys. However, that Cleveland Browns defense
I know.
takes no prisoners, no mercy. Sweep the leg. Yes, sensei. I'm sorry. I got to go with the Browns. I got to go with Joe Flacco. Not the biggest Flacco fan in the world, especially when he was trying to shit on Eli by saying Eli's not elite, but he was elite. It was like, go screw. But
close game
old
or no?
man Flacco, I kind of am rooting for old man Flacco. And again, that Browns defense. And as the old adage goes, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. We're going to see how well that adage holds up with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going with the Browns on the road to beat the Houston Texans. Jimbo, after that game, 8 p.m., exclusively on Peacock. You can't get it anywhere else. You want to watch football without paying money for it? Fuck you, says the NFL. You're going to pay us money or you can't watch. Which is bullshit, if you ask me. So do a lot of people. I have Peacock, and even I'm upset. This is bullshit. This is the playoffs. Put the games on the goddamn television, would you? That being said, Tyreek Hill coming home to a very cold,
What they say?
possibly sub-zero.
I was going to say -9 is the prediction.
Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the Fighting Swifts, otherwise known as the Kansas City Chiefs. Jimbo, who you got and why?
I'm going Dolphins. Now I know, I understand. Hear me out. I understand it's going to be cold, and what do you normally do when it's this cold? You run the ball, right? Pikachu, I call him Pikachu. I can never pronounce his name from Kansas City.
Pacheco. It's Pacheco. Yeah. It's not that hard.
Yeah, Pikachu.
It's a Rutgers boy.
I think the Dolphins have a better running back group than Kansas City. I think they also said it's supposed to be windy, so that might affect the passing game for both teams. So I think there's going to be a lot of running, and I'm saying Dolphins because everybody again.
It's haven't been that great. I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah,
Chiefs have been.
That's another reason.
Something's off with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Something's off with the Dolphins. The Dolphins aren't that great, and their defense, as shaky as it was, has everybody injured. They have nobody left.
Yeah.
They are absolutely depleted when it comes to their defense. So this feels like a game where it's going to be so cold that any advantage that you get from Tyreek Hill is negated.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking about a team that is, listen, people from South Florida and everything, they want to say like, oh, the cold's not going to affect us. It's a football game. We're ready to go. Negative temperatures affect you.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No matter where
and especially
you play.
when you're coming from South Beach, negative temperatures affect you.
Yeah.
It's going to affect Tyreek. It's going to affect any offensive ability that the Dolphins have. And again, at this point, I'm going to say the Chiefs' defense is better than the Dolphins' defense simply because the Chiefs' defense still has people on it. I got to go Chiefs. Chiefs at home, in that weather, in that environment, with Miami just completely a mash unit at this point.
Yeah.
And Tua being mediocre. Chiefs all day.
Okay.
Jimbo, we're going to sleep after that. That game, going to take a little nap. Because then we got Sunday. And Sunday, 1 p.m., the Pittsburgh Steelers. They take a trip all the way up to the beautiful Great Lake City of Orchard Park. Not Buffalo. That's not where they play. Even though they're called the Buffalo. They're not from Buffalo. They want to talk shit about the Giants. Oh, they're in New Jersey. Giants play closer to New York City than the Bills play to Buffalo. So, go screw. Anyway, be that as it may, the Steelers, number 7 seed, going up to the number 2 seed, the Bills. Who you got and why?
I'm going Steelers. I'm joking there.
We're just going underdogs the whole way here, really, huh? Outside of the Browns, which is the one away team, the one underdog. That I don't even know if they're an underdog. Like, all right, go ahead.
No, I am pulling for Steelers. I would like to see the Steelers make it all the way to the Super Bowl because obviously Philly's not going to fucking do it. But the Bills are just probably the hottest team, other than the Ravens and the Niners. I think the hottest team right now between both conferences. Way Josh Allen's playing. Now, again, I know that they're calling for real bad weather up there, but I don't think that matters.
Not with Josh Allen, he'll throw it anyway.
Yeah, and with Steelers not having TJ there, that's a huge.
That's the biggest thing for me. I would have given the Steelers a chance if they had TJ. With TJ being injured, I'm sorry, that dude is what makes that team run.
Yeah,
and I think it's incredible that the Steelers got to the playoffs. I think it's incredible that they have a winning record again after the way it was looking there in Pittsburgh this season. I think Mason Rudolph is a great story. And again, if they had TJ, I would say there's a good chance that the Steelers could pull off that upset.
Yeah.
But without having the heart of your team there, I think that becomes really hard, especially against a team like you said, the Bills. They needed to win 5 straight games to get where they are. They did.
Yeah.
And you have a team that was 6-6 that is now the AFC East champions, have a home game. I got to go with the Bills. So I'm going with the Bills.
Okay.
Then we finally switch over to the NFC. AFC playoffs, all done by that point. That's weird. Weird how the scheduling worked out with that. That usually is not how it goes, but the networks get to pick whatever they want. So that being said, 4 p.m. This is a great one. Good old-fashioned matchup, the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love making a trip down to Jerry World. They're in Arlington, Texas, not Dallas. Taking on the Cowboys, who are the number 2 seed after winning the NFC East because your Eagles dropped the goddamn ball. Jimbo, Packers, Cowboys. Who you got and why?
This may be my game of the week, if not second game of the week, but this one could be a hell of a game. I'm going with the Packers, and not just because I'm picking all underdogs, but like I said earlier in the show, until Dallas really shows me that they could put a string of playoff game wins together, it's going to be hard for me to pick them. And how Jordan Love has been playing and that team's been playing, I think this is not going to be as easy of a win for Dallas as a lot of people think. I think Green Bay upsets them. I think it's going to be a close game.
So you picking Green Bay?
Yes.
I want to pick Green Bay. This game has the stink of it could happen. The Dallas defense, though, and they're at home.
Yeah.
Dallas is 8-0 at home. They play really well at home. And so far this season, they don't lose at home. The Packers are inconsistent. Their defense is, ask any Packer fan about Joe Barry.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to pick the Packers, I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys on this one. The next round, if the Cowboys make it, I think then we're talking about something different. But for now, I will pick the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Green Bay Packers. The nightcap on Sunday, Jimbo.
Okay.
Prime time. For the first time ever in Ford Field, actually featuring the Lions. There was a postseason game there. It was Super Bowl 40, in case anybody forgets. So this is actually not the first postseason game in Ford Field history, as some people have been saying. But it's the first postseason game at Ford Field for the actual team that plays there.
Yeah.
You have the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford coming home to Ford Field to face the former Rams quarterback, Jared Goff, and the Detroit Lions. Jimbo, who do you got and why?
Before I make my pick, Do you do a tribute to Stafford before the game? A tribute video?
Absolutely not.
Do you do it after the game?
You can't. No. Maybe after if you win, but you can't.
I don't know if you saw CBS last weekend. J.J. Watt, Nate Burleson. Nate Burleson came out and said that you should do a tribute video before the game. J.J. Watt almost freaking knocked him off his seat. What the fuck is wrong with you?
You don't. No, you can't. You can't do that. And I understand that, and I'm sure he would too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it's the play. Maybe if it was a regular season game,
well, definitely.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. This is the playoffs. This is your first playoff game at Ford Field. This is the first time you have a home playoff game in the longest time.
Yeah.
Since, what was it, 1991, I think.
Something like that.
No, absolutely not. You still didn't answer who you got, though.
So with that being said, I'm going with the Lions. Even though they had a couple hiccups through the season, I think they are the team that we thought they were last year. They are this year. I think they'll beat the Rams. And I'll even put it out there, they may even beat them by double digits, whether it be 10 plus points.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Jimbo.
Oh, surprise.
There's nobody, I think, playing as good or as on fire right now outside of the LA Rams. They are playing really well. I know they struggled with the Giants 2 weeks ago. But as we saw, the Giants actually, for some reason, haven't played poorly in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So the Rams, Matthew Stafford, that team, he's got, he obviously had a week rest there, helps the arm, whatever. And now you're talking about the Lions too. They don't have the tight end Laporta. They don't have him.
He's not.
I don't know if he's officially out, but he won't be 100%.
Yeah, he won't be 100%.
80%. I think the Lions are there to get got. They can get got.
Okay.
And the Rams are the team that can do that. And how heartbreaking would that be for the Detroit Lions?
Yeah.
To finally make it, to finally do that, and the person who takes you out is the guy who you actually like. People from Detroit love Stafford. They rooted for him when he went to the Super Bowl with the Rams.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good feelings still there between Stafford and the Lions. And now he comes in with the Rams and beats them. That would be just like the ultimate kind of same old Lions kind of thing. And to be fair, the Lions have not played well down the stretch. Now, they played against the Cowboys well.
Yeah. Should
have won the game, be that as it may. Who reported, who didn't, all that nonsense. But again, like they've been inconsistent in coming down the stretch here. They've kind of been inconsistent all season, and now you take away, their amazing rookie tight end. Their defense has been shaky at times. And now you put them up against Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua with Stafford slinging it to them in a dome in perfect weather, because, Detroit in January would be bad, but you got a dome, so it's perfect. This is a game that they could get got. I'm rooting for the Lions. I want to put that out there right now. Rooting like hell for the Detroit Lions. I'm going to pick the Rams, though. I think the Rams do it. I think they take them out, and I hope they don't. But again, if we were betting, if this was a betting situation, I would have to put the money on the Rams. So I'm going Rams on this one, Jimbo.
All right. And that is all for today.
No, because there's one more. Oh, you thought you were going to get away. No, sir. You're not getting away from this one. You're not getting away from Monday night playoff football to end super wild card weekend. You got the number 5 seed, which, listen, 6 weeks ago, people figured you were the default number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Nope. Number 5 seed, Philadelphia Eagles, going into Tampa to beautiful Raymond James Stadium with the great pirate ship that shoots the cannons, which is really awesome. That's still one of the coolest things.
Yeah,
I think.
I'll give him that credit.
To face the NFC South champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jimbo, who you got and why?
I don't even fucking know. I don't know which team to pick here. And you know, I'm not picking with my heart. My heart says obviously pick Philly. I have no confidence in that defense. Chad Ochocinco, go get your brain checked. They're not playing possum. The defensive line is not going to be showing up to be like Lawrence Taylor and just sacking Baker Mayfield left and right. I gotta go Tampa Bay. Just because I think it's only going to take.
You're doing your reverse psychology
and
shit
that's
that
the
you
thing.
do in the group chat. That's exactly what you're doing. I know your tricks.
This is legit.
No, stop it. Stop it.
I think one drive for Baker Mayfield, if he goes boom, 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 boom all the way down, game over. Once he gets that confidence, it's over. So,
I know you. Stop it. You're picking the Eagles. I know you.
No.
Stop this nonsense.
There's only one way the Eagles win this game. Run
if they
the
score
fucking
more points than Tampa
ball.
Bay.
Even then, they'll figure out a way to fucking give them the game. We feel bad for you. Here you go. Get next round.
Listen, the Eagles have not played well.
Oh.
The Eagles have not played well. We've seen that they've lost the 5 of the last 6 games. 2 of those games, really 3 of those games. When you think about the Seahawks, they lost 3 of the last 4 against non-playoff teams.
Yeah.
They lost to the Seahawks, they lost to the Giants, and they lost to the Cardinals. The only win came from, like we said, from the Giants on Christmas, which again was barely a win. And then let's not even mention the fact that they got blown out by Dallas and San Francisco the 2 weeks before that. Yeah. So, Eagles not playing well. To that end, Tampa Bay over the last 2 weeks have not played well. Now, the weeks before that, they seemed a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's when I started saying that may not be a great matchup for the Eagles if they end up having to play Tampa Bay. Then the last 2 weeks, Tampa Bay shits the bed, and it's like, all right, maybe the Eagles can get this game. I think this game is tight. I think this game is ugly, if we want to be honest. Yeah. I think this game could be very ugly. A very 12 to 14, 12 to 16 kind of game, 9 to 12, some kind of nonsense shit like that. I think it could be that, but I think it's close. In the end, as much as I fucking hate them, I think they find a way to win.
Okay. Now you're using reverse psychology.
I'm not using reverse psychology. I honestly think that if the Tampa that played against New Orleans and Carolina shows up on Monday, Eagles win. I think if the team that was showing progress before these last 2 weeks shows up, they might blow the Eagles out.
Yeah.
But I have to go with what's trending. I have to see how it's trending. And the way the Buccaneers have played, especially against Carolina.
Yeah.
It's trending in the wrong direction. Granted, the Eagles aren't exactly trending in an upward direction.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I think if you look at it like, okay, both teams are not playing well. Both teams are struggling. In that case, I think you have to look at talent on talent. And the Eagles have more talent than Tampa does right now. Does that mean that Tampa can't win? No. Like I said, if Baker and Mike Evans start cooking,
yeah,
and they're able to go ahead and pick apart that Eagles defense, which can be done. And Tyrod Taylor picked you guys apart.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know there. Tyrod Taylor sucks ass.
Yeah.
And he beat the shit out of you guys. So Baker Mayfield is better than Tyrod Taylor. And Mike Evans is better than any receiver the Giants have on their team right now.
Yeah, true.
So if they can do that, I think it could be a problem. I just the way it's going, I don't think they can. I hope they do, because again, the Eagles. But I think the Eagles pull it off just based on talent alone, which means that they then either have to go to San Francisco or Dallas, depending on what happens with the rest of the games, and then you'll all get murdered. Like that's going to be a true crime documentary. Like that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I think you might survive just one more week. And that's the thing too. I think if you beat Tampa Bay, no matter how bad it looks, that saves Sirianni's job. So
that I will agree with.
I honestly think that. So there you go. There's our picks. I picked the Browns. I picked the Chiefs. I picked the Bills in the AFC, and I picked the Rams. I picked the Cowboys, and I picked the Eagles in the NFC. Jimbo, who did you get?
I took Tampa Bay, took Houston, took Dolphins, Bills, Packers, Lions.
So there you go. There's our Super Wildcard Weekend picks. Brought to you by Dubby. Jimbo, I think, needs to drink a little bit more of it to be more focused because he made some really funky picks there. So
or
that is what it is.
If they do come through, it's proof it works.
Could be. Well, I don't know because I don't know how much you've been drinking. I think you haven't had enough Dubby. You need more of that neuro factor that gets into your brain to help you think better. Because again, some of these picks I'm not sure about. I'm really not. and also, the more neuro factor you get in your brains makes you smarter. And you know how you get smarter too?
Oh.
When you go to order from Dubby, you go to dubby.gg. You can get anything you want there. All the flavors, all the merchandise, all the accoutrement. You get a little shaker for your Dubby, everything like that. When you're ready to check out, in that little promo box, you're going to put ST Sports 18. That's ST Sports 18, all capital letters. This is where you get smart, because if you put that in there, 10% off of your entire order over there at Dubby.gg. Jimbo, Dubby, what's their tagline?
Be better.
There you go. And you need to be better with your picks, because you don't think that Tampa Bay is going to win. I know you're doing this for a complete reverse psychology bullshit
One
thing.
drive. That's all it's going to take.
All year. You've done it all year in the group chat. Oh, I'm going to pick them because if I do that,
how will it work for us?
That's reverse psychology. How's that worked out for the last 5 weeks?
Exactly. That's why I'm
so
picking
it doesn't
real.
work. So to pick what you actually think is going to happen.
Oh, so I think that's going to be it for this week.
I think so. Yeah.
Like we said, if there's more stuff that comes out about Nick Saban, we will probably do another video or get something out there.
If there's any other NFL coaching news that comes out, the Saban stuff is wild.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
we saw that coming. But
till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo.
That is your King James football rivalry champion, King.
One last time.